Hello everybody, this is Maniac4Bricks, and today I'm revisiting an old LEGO MOC of mine from October of 2014. This was a LEGO school bus MOC that I created for a contest on YouTube held by CityBricks17. If you want to see more about his contest or everything he's doing right now, you can check out the link description down below. So this was a contest in which we were asked to build a model for the LEGO city that didn't already exist as a set, at least at the time of 2014. I mean, back then, we just barely got school buses in the terms of LEGO Friends. We've seen a couple more school buses nowadays in LEGO City and Hidden Side. So I'm actually surprised that this has lasted this long as it is, but it has fallen apart over time. It's been featured in many different shows. I've brought it just as its own inclusion to larger displays in different shows, and just briefly gonna review it and see what I can improve from it. So it's already had a whole bunch of pieces falling off of it. I'm going to ignore that for now. That's part of the structural integrity at the time. But for its time, it's actually one of the largest LEGO minifigure base vehicles I had ever made, which is actually incredible. I mean, I've made one or two larger ones from that. There's the Trinity Starship, which was a really cool big space shuttle. But this one, I don't normally build LEGO vehicles this big. I tried to think of it in the way of like a great vehicles city set, in terms of construction and features and ways of going through it. So the whole roof is made out of plate layers and basically has little slotted areas here and there to fit it over the tiles, and a little framing in between to hold that in place, which, you know, seemed like a smart decision. I did run out of some regular tiles, so I used ones that already had stickers on them. So these on the ends are actually from the Jedi Interceptor back in like 2005. There's one in here from the Naboo Starship. There's Exo Force style, and then there's a Racer style. So yeah, a couple weird ones in there. But the base of this thing, using some plates all the way around, some very basic wheels. There's also some brackets used along here to make this little step up to the bus itself. And the way you actually open this thing, you can actually open it from either side, is with a couple of hinges. So on either way of this thing, you can actually open it up to access inside, kind of like the city camper vans do. And then you could like fit all the minifigures in there very easily. So it wasn't really as realistic as it could have been as far as the door opening feature for like a real school bus. But I thought it would still be a nice little playable thing. I like ones that look nice but also have some play feature to them. But the way that this one was done, it also made the stripes along the sides of the bus look really bold and big. And they didn't quite mesh well when it came to the window area. It wasn't like segmented windows or anything. It was just kind of like a row of panels, which made it easier to see inside the bus, but, you know, may not look as accurate as it could have been. Then up to the front, we have a little area for the driver of the bus, and this fell apart constantly. The way that I aligned the plates in there didn't always work out so well, so as I removed a figure or put a figure inside of there, it was very likely of repairing a whole bunch of the front of the bus itself, which is kind of a shame. But it did also have a steering wheel, this little computer piece that worked as your speedometer, you know, a little console area, and then actual lever there for, you know, simulating either a handbrake or opening the and closing the bus itself. There's also this little compartment along this side of the driver's seats in which there would be a brick-built fire extinguisher. Now, you can't actually fit a false fire extinguisher in there, and even LEGO City sets did this, in which you would open it up. I don't even know if this piece is right there, but you would actually open this thing up, and then you'd have to build the fire extinguisher because it can't fit in there as one whole assembly. So I tried to allude to that when putting this thing together, because real school buses would have a fire extinguisher and some safety box towards the driver's seat. So I thought that would be cool to fit here. I actually ran out of the time of these transparent dark panel pieces, so I used a transparent clear one here in its way. And it doesn't really look as good, especially when the whole thing was put together. It was very noticeable, very different from the rest, and it didn't have to be. What I also really enjoyed about this one was actually some of the front face work. So I actually had a whole bunch of these mirrors that would be able to swivel back and forth, side mirrors and things for the bus itself, which actually looks pretty proper. And I know that school buses have a range of styles, but the ones that I was looking up actually had something like that and worked out very nicely as a Lego model. But again, this whole front work would easily fall apart if I needed to change one or two things, especially around the wheels. And the wheels didn't have a proper mud guard or anything. You can even see where the separation is. It was actually just made out of a couple of archway pieces or inverse slopes. I didn't have proper ones in yellow to use there, and it was also in a weird way that it was right over a stud, like at an odd number of studs. So I didn't feel like that would work, even if I did have them. So maybe that's something I could change later. I did that also with the back wheels there too. You can notice that there. Then on the back of the bus, I had a little bit of angle to it, facing upward. I guess it was just because I had the pieces available and thought it would make it a little more stylish. You have the exhaust for the bus, and then this little area. So this was another kind of play feature I made for it back then, where you could open this thing up and dump out all of the luggages. So the kids are going to school with luggages. I mean, maybe you could just call these lunch boxes, but it always felt funny to me that they had just briefcases using briefcase pieces going to school. Didn't actually have a way of putting them up near each student, so I made this as kind of a little compartment in the back of the bus, so nobody actually sat all the way back there. The bus can hold 5 minifigures, aside from the driver, which would then be 6, and there was a little bit of a panel piece up here, so I guess you could put something into place, but yeah, it did the job. There was a full video that I made about this when it was fully constructed on my channel. If you want to see that, link in the description below. And in retrospect, oh, I forgot to mention about the stop sign, which is cool. It didn't actually have the word stop on it, but it did still have a yellow circle, not an octagon. Yeah, about that. But it's still cool having its own sign to extend out from the bus if it was parking somewhere. I did that a couple times when displaying it, so it would have people stopping in front of it and someone getting off of the bus, things like that. It was also nice having a little license plate, because this is from Adventurers. There's a little extra thing in the front there. Again, kind of like Lego City sets have. So reviewing this thing, I feel like I could do a lot better. I think that some building techniques could be improved on, especially to make more of the side of the bus look more realistic. I don't know if I have the proper yellow window pieces to make that work, but I think I could segment different parts of the bus a little better so that it could look more natural. I could definitely narrow down some of the stripes so it's not as prevalent as the bus itself, because those kind of black stripes would be much thinner than this in this kind of scale. Yeah, some of the basic plate work towards the front would definitely need some work so that it's easier to get in and out of there, and also having the driver fit in and out of there. I don't think Lego makes an octagon piece at this moment, or at least one that's a 2x2, so this is okay. But I think I do have a tile piece that does say the word stop on it, so I could probably use that instead. And I would actually like to hold more kids inside of the bus. I know I can't really make proper benches for 2 of them to sit on each side in this scale, but maybe fitting a few more towards the back area would be really nice, like 1 or 2 back here or something, or just have 1 large bench or something. Maybe could work. Instead of having briefcases, they could actually have backpacks, because backpack pieces exist, I didn't have them available at the time, and I certainly don't even think they had that many, especially small ones at the time. Like the Simpsons and the Sky Diver figure would have been some of the earlier versions of it, but I didn't own those at the time. So yeah, that could definitely be improved. One of the things I really do like that I would like to keep is somehow making this open up, kind of like it did before, but the actual changing of the window work here would be fine. So maybe having a smaller version of it that would open just enough to work as an actual bus door would be pretty cool. But I also do like the little stepway that's done there. Just simply done with a couple panels. Looks pretty nice. I like the number that's on here because buses usually have different numbers. And the general size of it feels really good. It actually feels like it would be like the prototype of a great vehicle set. And I really hope that someday LEGO does actually make a great vehicles school bus, like $20 to $30 set, because that would be awesome. And I know that they made a separate school bus in the Intercept bus from Hidden Side, but that takes a lot more modification to make it feel more acquainted to a city. I like the style for what it's going for, but I also want to try something that feels, on the realistic side, for a change. So this was a cool mock to take a look at again. And hopefully I'll have some updates later on my YouTube channel about reconstructing this thing. So thank you for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you later. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below as well. And be sure to like the video if you want to see more like this, and subscribe for other mocks that I'm working on.